the trade data right now, there's sort of slight gyrations into a deficit. The key question is really exports to the People's Republic of China. That's where the weakness is right now. That's where the concern is. So a key focus is going to be whether exports to China can actually resume some solid recovery.
Okay, so answer your own question. Will exports be able to continue to rise even in the face of these increasing trade tensions?
I think the answer is yes, and the reason is very simple. It's not Donald Trump, but it is the Chinese Communist Party revving up their domestic stimulus that should benefit the likes of Komatsu and other Japanese construction machinery companies. So exports to China over the next 2 or 3 months should be a positive story.
What's your thinking on the Japanese economy right now? You say growth is balanced, but there's certainly a lot of uncertainty out there when it comes to trade and investment. Do you think that is going to present a near-term risk into capex and perhaps potentially damage some of the resilience that we've seen from the Japanese economy so far this year?
The amazing thing is that Japan's economy, if you look at the data, it's actually in a sweet spot. The purchasing power of the people is finally increasing. It's the first time in 30 years that you've got record wage and income growth. So domestic demand is actually very solid here. The worry is, of course, the outlook, uncertainty over trade. Will the tariffs actually be implemented? That could be a huge damage for the Japanese economy. And then next year, we do have the increase in the consumption tax. What's the budget? What's Abe going to do to counter that?
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to ask you about those two things. So we are coming into the midterm elections in the United States. There is a potential to see those auto tariffs on Japanese exports. What's your view? Can Japan actually survive a trade war with the United States? And is that a risk that you're putting on your radar?
If you did get 25% tariffs on cars and car exports from Japan to the United States, that would be literally a disaster. Japan's economy is very dependent on cars. Just remember, Japan's largest car maker, everything included, is about 12% of Japan's economy. There's a lot of multipliers from the car industry. So if Mr. Trump were to go ahead and impose the 25% tariffs on Japan, that would, cut Japanese GDP by almost 0.5%.
And the hike in the consumption tax is coming too, as you mentioned. What are Japanese authorities doing to mitigate some of the potential impact of both of those factors?
Prime Minister Abe is very focused on providing a counter to next year's tax increase. So the budget, fiscal spending, and in particular transfers to Mr. and Mrs. Watanabe. They want to make education free. They want to also increase the transfers to help with care for the elderly. So next year's fiscal spending is going to be a big counter to cushion against the negative drag from the hike in the consumption tax.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch another great video from CNBC International. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.